Hi everyone. So today I'm actually going to make a video about dealing with the criticisms of the narcissist. So I'm trying to make this video relatively short so that I don't get cut off in the middle of the video recording, and so that I don't actually have to upload this over two videos. So so okay, just let me just go through a little bit about what I'm actually going to talk about today in terms of dealing with the criticisms of the narcissist. So, for those who have actually been in a relationship with a narcissist, you might probably be aware that most of the time, when you are in close contact with a narcissist, they get triggered really, really easily on a hairline trigger. So sometimes they can just blow up over the most unbelievable things, yeah. And a result of such rage and such anger is that is also the barrage of criticisms that they will be directing at you. Some of which, or I won't even say some, I would say most of which is actually unfounded and rather exaggerated. So it goes back to that whole saying that if it walks like a duck but talks like a swan, it must pretty much be a narcissist. So yeah, their words are always gilded with a lot of grease and gold, and yeah, they make so many promises and everything. But okay, but back to this idea about their criticism. So we might have to come down to the fact that because a narcissist is full of deception and full of lies. I mean, because they have actually this false self, which they all these multiple false selves that they have created to actually hide that one true self in them. And that one true self is a pretty pathetic and lowly creature. I don't even know where it comes from, but maybe it's from hell. Maybe it's just them, that they don't even love themselves. They can't face it, and as a result of their inability to face it, they often direct that criticism onto other people. So that is one reason why narcissists often criticize those around them, those who are closest, and because they feel the license to actually project this form of criticism onto other people who are closest to them. And in a way, it's actually projection bullying. So yeah, so if you were to think about it, people will be asking, that why then, if these people really criticize you so badly, and if they keep on disparaging you, and if they really hate you so much, why then do they still keep on hang around with you? Why are they still in that so-called relationship with you? So but we have to remember that narcissists essentially cannot be by themselves. So they need supply. Yeah, because they need supply, they need to actually keep on finding someone to project all their criticisms onto. So yeah, so the best way to deal with this form of this kind of criticism that comes from them, obviously in the logical sense, we would be told, just ignore them, don't react, just respond, or just simply don't do anything. Because if we were to just react, we would be giving them fuel. And the reason why they are projecting all these things onto us and criticizing us is because they want us to actually react. Yeah, and then when we react and we start defending ourselves, and or if we just turn back on them and fight back, they'll just start saying, doing their gaslighting and saying, oh, see, I told you, you are like that. Yeah, they do that all the time. So of course, that's one thing that we are told not to do, or to do, simply not just to ignore them. But I know that for some people, it's very hard to actually just simply ignore them, because the reason is that they do such criticizing, they perform such criticism is because they want a reaction. They want some form of recognition from your part that you are as bad as they think you are, as they say you are. Yeah. So okay. So if the best way, if they say, if you can't join them, or if you can't convince them, you have to confound them. So as far as I'm concerned, the best way to deal with a raging narcissist who keeps on criticizing you is to actually issue a response that confounds them, that confuses them. How do you confuse them? Simply, give them some one word response that might just surprise them, because maybe they were expecting you to fight back, to start defending yourself. So if you were to just say something like, oh, sure, interesting, whatever, or just like, oh, okay, interesting, I see. The main point of such boring and almost uninteresting responses is actually a form of grey rock. So that is the way to deal with them. Of course, you don't want to actually let them know that you are performing grey rock on them, because the main point is to make them lose interest in trying to antagonize you with criticisms. So if you were to let them know that you're performing grey rock, that will only lead them to turn it up one more notch or more in their bullying. So yeah. So okay, then the other way, of course, the best way is obviously no contact. So, but I know that some people can't really do that. So yeah, so you just have to play by ear. And but the best thing to remember is that the reason why they are doing this is ultimately a projection not of anything but their own self insecurities. And I think that is important to realize that when they are criticizing you, it has almost virtually nothing to do with you. Okay, so but let me just give you some story as to what's going on, and why I say that you shouldn't take too much stock in what they say when it comes to criticizing of your character. So those who have been following me will know that I think quite a number of years ago, I think it was 2016. Yeah, 2016 was so long, but at that point in time, I was in a modeling pageant. I was actually in the Manhunt pageant. So I remember that the point it was just like in the middle of the pageant. I remember that I constantly got a lot of this so-called harassment from the ex-narcissist about that event being so high profile, and that it's not good for the relationship, because it could just it just leads to more attention on anyone, especially me, and blah blah blah, all that stuff. That was one thing, but when I was talking about that one moment in the pageant where you have very sleazy gay I'm nothing against gay people, but this one coordinator or some organizer in the event who was going around doing stuff like touching people without those hanky-panky stuff, and just touching them without asking, and it's just not for nothing. Yeah. I was actually talking about that particular encounter during the early moments of that pageant or that show, when I was actually one of the contestants. And there's one particular organizer who was gay, was trying to go around and touch the male contestants who were actually just who were mostly not gay anyway. Most of us weren't. So and he was doing stuff like, it's really weird stuff. Like I remember that he stood behind my back, and he plucked off a random hair from my neck, and he said, "Oh, there's a random hair at the back of the neck." It was without any warning. I got so shocked that but I mean, I had a friend who was telling me that joke after that thing was being narrated to him. He said, soon he'll be plucking more than your hair at the back of your neck. He might be plucking off hair elsewhere. I mean, that was something that I was talking to the ex, but for some strange reason, the ex would be saying, "Oh, that's not the stuff that you want to say during the middle of a meal," and blah 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 blah, and yeah, all this bullshit, and whatever, I kind of in retrospect, it didn't seem like a very good reason to blow up at me, and I think 6 years later, you kind of realize, oh, now I know why someone is so angry or was so angry over this thing. I mean, you have one narcissist blowing up at you and saying, "Oh, this kind of stuff are high profile events," but then you go and take part in some whatever pageant or whatever, another sleaze event, and then you go and put yourself out there on social media to solicit more hookups, and yeah, whatever, it's just a lot of hypocrisy, and all these are reflections of the very fact that narcissists do not, regardless of their gender, whether it's a male or female, when they criticize you, it's not your fault. It is simply their fault and their issue all along. Yeah, and I mean, this was only one particular issue, but I think that there were other events and other things said that, especially during the day when I was discarded, that it seemed so obvious that there was so much projecting and so much criticism. Like, for example, "That's why you never listen. I hate you so much." That was a stupid thing that the narcissist said. Wait. It seems so funny because that whole thing had evolved into a state of possible violence against me. I know that people will say, "Oh, no, guys don't get abused," but no, I do believe that it does happen, and for the fact that nobody except my very close friends believe me. The strange thing was that that particular narcissist was really mean, and I remember that there were claims that I wasn't listening to anyone. I was full of myself. I was a dirtbag, and I mean, so much contrary to the person that I actually am, because I always believe that when you enter any kind of relationship, whether or even just a friendship, you should be listening to the other person's point of view. So, but especially in that particular narcissistic relationship, I was constantly silenced, and then right at the time when it ended and we just totally stopped communication, you claim that I was not listening. It was the exact opposite. So they lie every time they do that kind of criticism. So it's important to know that they lie. It's a lie. Mostly if they are opening their mouths, they are just lying. So so okay, anyway, I just so far as I can recall. So anyway, I'm actually going off to run some errands in a while, and as well as I'm actually going for some therapy again in the coming half of the week, which is kind of good because I haven't really been talking much to a counselor, and I think that therapy is actually very good for you, and it helps in the healing. And even after years from that relationship or whatever that you have left behind, you want to actually have healthy coping mechanisms for future friendships and everything. So, and even relationship, whatever. So, and even in your own life. So anyway, I'm actually done with this, and I'll actually talk to everyone again once my schedule frees up again. Okay, so I hope everyone has a good week ahead. Okay, bye bye.